15 years ago, we had no clue. We had no clue. We thought bacteria in the gut, well, helps us break down food and it helps us transport some and absorb some vitamins, but that's about all it does. Well, now we have some really good evidence that bacteria, check this out. This is a news release from earlier this year. Discovery of anti-inflammatory molecule produced by gut bacteria. We know when your body has a lot of inflammation, inflammation expresses itself in many different ways. But when you have a lot of inflammation in your body, we know it can lead to heart disease, strokes, and cancers. Inflammation is essentially cellular damage. Now, here we go. Anti-inflammatory molecule produced by gut bacteria. Come back here, take principles of biology in 10 years, and I'm sure we'll know a heck of a lot more. It's really, a lot of people are on this. It's a hot area of study right now. And there's also a lot of information, a lot of evidence that it appears that exposure to bacteria early on in your life, i.e. at birth, as you're passing through the birth canal, you're picking up mother's bacteria. And formerly we thought, this is bad, this is not good, right? Baby exposed to bacteria. Well, it is. Because exposure, it appears that exposure to a lot of these different varieties of bacteria help to train the baby's immune system. So stay tuned on this one. Very intriguing, but it makes sense. All these different varieties of bacteria are not just part of us for no good reason. It would seem to make sense that they're there for something. Evolution has taken care of this and said, well, this is a beneficial bacteria to have. So evolution would say, it's a beneficial bacteria to have, what? What? Leave it. It's allowed to stay, exactly. All right, well, here's another way bacteria benefits humans. This is a bacterium called Bacillus thuringiensis. Or just BT. Don't write Bacillus thuringiensis down. Just BT for short. That's what everybody calls it. Now, this is a bacterium that kills only caterpillars. So it specifically targets caterpillars. Specifically those caterpillars that are pests. Crops, forests. You spray the bacterium. I use this in my garden. You spray it on whatever you want to protect. And when the caterpillar consumes the bacterium, what it does is to paralyze the gut of the caterpillar so it can no longer feed. And as a result, it's going to be dead real fast. So this is a bacillus. So what does that tell you? It forms what? It's rod-shaped, but what else can it do? We talked about this last time. It can form what? It can form endospores. So what you're spraying is an endospore, the bacteria in the endospore form. You spray it, it sticks to a crop or sticks to a tree. Bacteria comes along, munch, 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 engulfs, ingests the endospore. Then once the endospore gets inside the caterpillar, it says, wow, this is a great place to hang out in the gut of this thing. So the wall breaks down, they start to multiply, dead caterpillar. So the beauty of this is it's not a broad spectrum insecticide. It's a very targeted insecticide. And don't always connotate insecticide with something bad. Insecticides don't have to be bad for the environment. People hear insecticide, they think, oh my God, I don't want it. But this is an insecticide that's very safe for the environment and humans because it only targets the caterpillars. So you're not spraying it over a forest, over a field, and killing everybody. Good insects, bad insects. You're targeting only the caterpillars. So here's the BT. You can see the endospores here. So spray it, knock out the bad guys. caterpillars are the larval form of butterflies and moths. And in this larval form, they eat, because they have to grow quickly in order to metamorphose into adults. So they have voracious appetites. Caterpillar damage. Here's a head of cabbage that will never develop. Caterpillars. Gypsy moths. Gypsy moths. Anybody notice this summer how many trees have been defoliated? Were defoliated throughout the area? Gypsy moths. It's going to be badder next year, I think, next summer. But what gypsy moths do is they feed on leaves. And they defoliate trees.
See how they have like those spiky things on them?
Mm-hmm.
Do all caterpillars that have those spiky things, are those all moths?
No, not necessarily.
Oh.
Some can be butterflies.
Okay.
Those spiky things are just hairs to make them supposedly less palatable to birds, maybe. Birds are big predators. So you can see the area here has been defoliated by gypsy moths. Now, a tree can take that, can draw upon its starch, flush out new leaves, but if the gypsy moth caterpillars hit it again, won't have any starch reserve to pull out and put new leaves on. You can see where the gypsy moths have been operating here. So what would you do? Well, you could fly across that in an airplane, spray a broad spectrum insecticide, but that would kill everything. Typically, a lot of these broad spectrum insecticides are not good for the environment. They'll enter water, enter soil, and potentially enter the food chain. Or you can fly across that with an airplane and spray DT. Just get the bad guys. So there's a female gypsy moth laying eggs. I have these egg cases all over my yard on the trees, and they're just going to sit there until next spring, and then they will hatch. So females have done their work for the year, and the eggs are just sitting there and wait. They'll overwinter right there on the tree. The eggs hatch next spring. The caterpillars start walking up the tree to the highest part where the leaves are, and they start eating.
Oh my goodness.
Really abundant. I did some traveling this summer through Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and yeah, the whole region. So you can spray this on crops. I spray it on my broccoli in my garden. Otherwise, green caterpillars just eat the heck out of the broccoli. You don't get much. It's safe for consumption. It's all good. Here's another one. It's called milky spore. Now, this is an insecticide specific to another type of plant pest called the Japanese beetle. Now, if you're a gardener, you know what I'm talking about. But the milky spore is another bacillus type of bacterium, and you're putting down the endospores. So you're putting the endospores right in the soil. And the endospores are soil, the bacillus is a soil bacterium. So once it gets in the soil, it's pretty happy. It starts to grow and multiply. And when it encounters a Japanese beetle grub, a larval form, it kills it. Once again, safe for pets, safe for the environment, and it only kills the beetles. There's the grub. So the female Japanese beetles have laid their eggs this summer. The eggs have hatched. And the larvae are in that stage right now in the soil. They're pretty dormant right now. They're not very active. But next spring they'll become active. Nice looking yard there. There's a yard impacted by grubs. They eat the roots of the grass,
Oh, I don't like them.
killing it.
I like grass.
There's the adult. So very pretty. So right around the 4th of July, these will pupate into adults. And then the adults emerge, eat, and do a lot of damage to plants and fruits. Mate, female get together, lay the eggs, and then the cycle repeats for the following year. So these guys are laying in the soil, for much of the year, through the fall, through the spring until about the 4th of July. So you hit the soil with the milky spore. I have a box right here I put on my lawn. So it looks like flour. You just sprinkle it every few feet. The endospores go into the soil. They start to multiply, and when they find one of these, take care of it. Yes.
How much was that?
This was $70.
Oh my goodness.
It took 2 of these to do my yard.
Oh my goodness.
So $140. But wait. I could have used this. You walk into Lowe's, Home Depot in the spring, and there are pallets and pallets and pallets and pallets of this stuff. But this is good for 1 year, and if you read the bag, it's bad for the environment. It's toxic to aquatic stuff. So if that stuff makes it into a waterway,
They shouldn't even sell that.
it's
kind of
very
stuff.
toxic.
Like, I don't even know why they do.
This is good for 1 year, about $20 a bag. This is good for 10 years. So do the math. $140 over 10 years, or, I don't know, say it takes 2 bags a year, that's $400 over 10 years. So I'll do it this way. Safe for the environment, have to do it once, you're good for a while. This you have to do every year. So they're the adults. The adults are hungry. Yeah. Adults attacking an apple will never be sold. Okay, well here's another use for a bacteria in what we call bioremediation. Bioremediation is, and you can buy this stuff right online. You can buy it at Lowe's, Home Depot, but cheaper online. Bioremediation is using living things to clean up our messes. So bio, living, remediate means to repair or fix, make right. So one way bacteria are used in bioremediation is to clean up oil spills. So we have genetically engineered, using recombinant DNA techniques. We use bacteria, we release bacteria where oil has been spilled to help clean up the spill. Doesn't do it all, but it's a good first step. You don't want that. You want to get the oil off the surface.
And they just have, I was reading online, they just have a huge oil spill.
Are you serious?
A lot of oil spilled.
It wasn't like the one we had a few years ago where it was, millions of gallons. It was only a few 100,000 gallons, but it was still pretty bad.
I haven't read about it, but there's a lot I don't see, so it's quite possible.
I'm trying to remember what I saw.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. You use so much oil on this planet, it's going to happen. Humans being humans, we're going to screw up from time to time. Well, here's another way we use bioremediation in sewage treatment. If you go over to Bondi's Island, tour any sewage treatment plant, there's a lot of nastiness in there, a lot of organic material in there that you don't want getting out into the environment. So part of the treatment process, making this water right again, making it clean enough to release back into the environment, part of the treatment process is expose these organic solids. You know what I'm talking about when I say organic solids, right? These organic solids to, among other things, bacteria. Bacteria help to break them down. Service provided. Bioremediation. Food products. Yogurts. Anything used for fermentation. Buttermilk. Sauerkraut. Cheeses. Bacteria used in the manufacturing process. There's a benefit. Decomposers. Yeah. Talked about this time and time again. We don't need to say it anymore. But Mother Nature, the grand champion of decomposer organisms.
I was gonna say the same thing. What is
I don't know what it is. I haven't figured that out myself. Nice picture off the internet, so I put it in. Okay. So how can humans contact or contract bacterial diseases? 5 ways we can list out. And most of these are commonsensical, if you just think about it. Of course, through the air, food and drink that's contaminated, touching objects that a lot of other people touch, touching someone, sexual contact is all thrown into number 3. Wounds, breaks in the skin. And what we might call arthropod bites.
I heard of that before.
So plenty of ways to pick up bacteria. They're all out there, plenty of it out there. Of course, we know most of it is not harmful to humans. But of course, what you want to avoid is picking up one that is, could cause a problem. So let's say a couple words about each of these. Contaminated food and drink. Don't write down the different diseases. I'm not going to ask you that. You can take microbiology for that. But food that's spoiled. Food that sits out too long at a summer picnic. When you cut up raw chicken, you should always, of course, once you're done cutting up the raw chicken, take the cutting board, take the knives, anything that came in contact with the raw chicken, and bleach it off. Bleach kills everything. Give it a good shot of bleach. Don't want to mess around with raw chicken. Dirty dishes that are not cleaned properly, a little residue of food on there, that can breed bacteria. Food that's left out at maybe a summertime picnic, left out too long, sits around all day, comes to room temperature and sits there for a while, it's going to breed bacteria. So you want to keep it cold, you want to keep it hot. Don't let it sit at room temperature for very long. That's when it starts growing stuff. Cold or hot, always does it.
How effective is the antibacterial soap for like the chicken?
Everything, no. Everything you read about antibacterial soap is overrated. Regular soap will do it, but you just want to scrub it well.
Regular soap is better than antibacterial?
I won't say better, but I'd say there's no difference. To me, it's a marketing gimmick, and everything I've read has been shown antibacterial soaps really don't do any better job at cleaning your hands than regular soap. But key is, when you wash your hands, do it long enough. Plenty of soap, whatever that soap might be, good stream of water, plenty of scrubbing. That's what the experts say. And meat. Ground meat, make sure you cook it all the way through. Ground meat, you go back to ground meat, if you like your hamburgers nice and raw, that's a bad idea. Because when meat is ground, slaughterhouses aren't the cleanest places in the world. Fecal matter from cows can get in the ground meat.
I
It
watched
does.
a documentary on that. Haven't eaten ground beef since.
Well, good for you.
Grossed me out.
So if you don't cook it all the way through, and it's pink in the middle or raw in the middle, you're going to subject yourself
Do
to
you
that.
butter meat?
It's plain Russian roulette. So cook it all the way through. Something like this, you're okay. Why are you okay with red steaks?
Because it's not a ground.
It's not a ground
It's
product,
not
right? So if
everything
there's
else.
bacteria on the outside, you sear it, you kill the bacteria. There's not going to be bacteria on the inside. So you check out the numbers.
Sick.
That's a big impact. 15 billion a year, almost 10 million sickened. That's a lot, and that costs all of us in one way or the other. It's not just something benign. You miss work, if you're hospitalized, that results in increased hospital costs. It increased insurance costs, lost productivity, lost taxes. There's a ripple effect to our economy, to our society. All right, another way to pick it up is through the air. Sneezes, coughs, inhaling airborne bacteria. When you just stand and talk to somebody, your droplets coming out of your mouth, unfortunately, like it or not, whether you can detect it or not, it's happening. Well, bacteria is small enough to hitch a ride on those droplets. So if that person you're talking to is sporting maybe a bacterial condition in their mouth, it's quite possible that that bacteria can be spread to you. Always cover your mouth, of course. Cough into your elbow, not into your hand. Sneeze into your elbow, not into your hand. All those things.
Wait, oh man.
Next one, of course, is direct touch. Touching things that a lot of other people touch. Door handles, ATM buttons, desktops, shopping cart handles. One way to pick it up, you don't know who was touching that 3 minutes before you were touching that. Shaking hands with somebody.
Okay, now you're getting my OCD going.
Sexual contact, kissing. You can't be a total germaphobe, of course. Gotta, shake hands with somebody, kissing and all that, but you just need to be aware, of course. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wash your hands. Wounds, breaks in skin. As the saying goes, the skin is the first line of your body's defense. So when that first line of defense is broken, it's a pathway in. So anytime you suffer a cut, even if it's a small cut, like a paper cut, hurts like crazy, give it a good wash. Take it seriously. 99 times out of 100 it won't be an issue. Probably 999 times out of 1,000 it won't be an issue. But why not? Protect yourself. And arthropod bites. Fleas, ticks, in particular. Bubonic plague, we made quick mention of that, but something we don't have to worry about here, bubonic plague. But we certainly have to worry about Lyme disease. Transmitted through the bite of a tick to humans. So if you don't know about Lyme disease, educate yourself about Lyme disease.
My cousin has Lyme disease.
Yeah, it's widespread. I've had it 3 times.
Oh, jeez.
You just have to be aware, especially if you spend time outdoors. It's not about, I go on 12-mile hikes and all this. If you just spend time in your garden, you spend time just maybe hiking at Forest Park, Stanley Park, somewhere. It's not too hard to pick up ticks since they are so abundant.
Yeah, you don't even feel them.
There you go. Confirmed cases of Lyme disease, 2014. You can see the epicenter in the northeast and the disease spreading south and west. Upper Midwest too has quite a number of cases. So you look where Massachusetts is. Wow.
We're covered.
So you need to be aware.
Ew.
So you pick up a tick. Here's one I just picked up the other day, right off my arm. It was embedded in my arm. Hopefully it's not going to be an issue, but you can see how small. You can't see from where you are. You can look at it after class if you want. Deer ticks are very small. There are 2 types of ticks. Wood ticks, they don't transmit the disease. They're bigger. Deer ticks transmit the disease. They're smaller, hard to detect. So if you do any work outside hiking, check yourself. Check yourself, check yourself. If you have kids, check your kids. Your kids are not going to know any better. Check yourself. And the telltale sign is a bullseye rash around the bite mark. But that's only about 70% of the time. I've had it 3 times. I've only had the bullseye rash once. But you need to check yourself. You got a tick on me, you remove it, then you watch. Watch for the symptoms, flu-like symptoms. Sweats, chills, night sweats, achiness, it feels like you have the flu, swollen lymph nodes. You need to be aware. Because if I wasn't aware I was bitten by a tick, I'd say, God, this sucks. Summertime and I've got the flu. I can't believe it. And it would go untreated. If you catch it early, it's easy. Antibiotic treatment done. But if you don't, that can impact you for the rest of your life. And something as simple as a bite from a tick. So be aware of it. I had a student a few years back in this very course, Principles of Biology, and young guy, he had Lyme disease that went undiagnosed. And I don't know how a doctor today in that Western Massachusetts, if somebody's presenting these symptoms, could possibly not check for Lyme disease. I don't get that, how all that happened. But this was progressive, and it went untreated, and he had a hard time walking. He didn't walk fast, and his facial muscles were frozen. So when he talks to you, he talks just like this, and he couldn't express any emotion. He's a young guy. He's screwed basically for the rest of his life.
So because it was untreated, could they never like fix that, even if he went on?
No, he's going to be with it. He's going to have, well, as it is now, no.
That's ridiculous. That makes me mad.
My brother-in-law got it. He was in his 80s. It went to his brain. It caused all sorts of hallucinations and dementia and arthritis. And Richard had other ailments. This didn't lead to his demise. This didn't kill him, but it was a confounding factor. So my point here is educate yourself about it. Don't be, well, whatever, I don't know, it's here, yeah, but whatever. You have kids, we'll have kids. So here is your chance to educate yourself about this disease. What I want from you is a 2-page paper on Lyme disease.